and welcome to my talk called Crafting Non-geographic Maps using Vue and Leaflet.js. First of all, I'm very happy to be speaking at Vue.js Global Summit by Geekle, and let's get into it. So my name is Alexander Gekuf. I'm an ICT and software engineering student. For the past 3 years, I have been working as a software developer at Axion Biosystems. More about that later, but I'm originally based in Sofia, Bulgaria, and currently I'm living in Eindhoven in the Netherlands. Recently, I've also started writing and creating content about Vue and frontend in general. So if you want to learn more, you can follow me at my blog or watch my YouTube videos. I'm also on Twitter, so you can say hi there as well. So what is Leaflet? Leaflet, for those of you who don't know, is a JavaScript library for creating interactive maps. You can think of Google Maps, and other competitors also include Mapbox and OpenStreetMap, but essentially with this library we can create maps on the internet. And what's so special about Leaflet is that it's open source and it's quite small, and it also has a lot of features and a quite big community. So some of the features include zooming capabilities, adding markers to specific coordinate systems, shapes, custom controls, layers, and so on. There is also a package of Leaflet, a wrapper, sort of say, for Vue. And originally I've been using the Vue 2 Leaflet package, but there's also a package for Vue 3, although that it's still in beta and is not yet stable. If you want to install it in your project, all you have to do is just run npm install and then add Vue Leaflet /Vue Leaflet, and also originally the original Leaflet.js library. And after doing that, you would have your map. And speaking of maps, I wanted to talk about geographic versus non-geographic maps, because when we say maps, we usually think of something geographic, something with streets, with cities, with parks, and so on. So something like this on the picture. But in a sense, maps are much more than that. I would say that maps are just visualizations that help us navigate. And we can navigate not only in between streets and cities and so on, but we can navigate between let me actually show you. So we can navigate between subway system maps, which can be interactive, which can be still a bit geographic, but we can also navigate between seating plans. For example, when you're booking a concert using Ticketmaster, you would usually see a planning of the seats and how they're positioned so that you can navigate and pick which place you want to sit in. Another use case is floor plans. So we can use maps to visualize how the rooms will look so that we can navigate over architectural decisions and how we want to maybe structure our apartment. Of course, there are many other use cases of maps and non-spatial maps. For example, you can build a mind map, you can build what else? You can build like a floor plan of a big mall with multiple floors, and so on and so forth. But I wanted to ask you, have you watched this movie? I heard it's pretty good. I still haven't watched it, but if you've watched it, you probably booked a ticket from a website of your local cinema, and your local cinema website probably has a non-geographic map in which you can use to book your tickets, and it would look something like this in the picture. You would have a grid. Some cinemas have like different grids, maybe it's in an arc, but nonetheless it would have the seating organization coupled with some labels for easier navigation. You would have a rectangle either on the top or on the bottom, symbolizing the screen, and the user should be able to click or somehow interact with these seats so that he can select them, see also which ones have been booked, and then proceed with paying for his tickets and going and watching the movie. So as you can see, I've started a new Vite application, and what I've done is installed Tailwind CSS and also the Vue 3 leaflet library. And I've also initialized a prettier RC just to keep everything nicely formatted. I've also cleaned up all the unnecessary stuff and just left a hello world, and everything should be looking like this. We basically have a hello world in the middle of our page. Cool. So what I want to show you is if we go here into the Vue leaflet package, you can see that the example is using the old syntax, but we want to be using script setup. So let's just copy the this div here with the map for now, and we can paste it in here. And next thing, we can just copy these two imports. So we're importing the CSS for leaflet and also the LMAP and LTire layer components. And last thing that we need to do is just set a zoom. We can use a ref of 2. Let's also import that from Vue. And now if we go into our map, on our browser, we will see that nothing happens, and in fact, we get an error. And this is because in the Vue 3 leaflet version of this, we also need to set one property to disable server-side rendering. And this is use global leaflet, which will basically set the correct reference to leaflet for our Vite server to use. So if you go back in here, all we need to do is just paste this as a prop. And now if we go back into our browser and refresh, you can see that we have the map. Let's also just zoom out a bit. So here we have a fully functional map. We can zoom in and basically, a basic geographic map. So what we can do now from here is you can see that we actually get the map tiles from this tile layer here, which is provided by OpenStreetMap. But we don't need this for now, so we can actually delete this. And let's also maybe create a bit of a structure here and create this cinema map.view. And in here, we'll basically have the map itself. So if we create a new setup here, just paste it in, and also import this stuff here. We don't need the tile layer anymore, but we do need the zoom. So going back here. Okay, so this should work. And lastly, we just need to import it here and use it. So just say import cinema map from component cinema map, and let's just also use it here. And I should probably close it. Okay. So now we have this cinema map. We don't know if it works, but let's also change one more thing. So as you can see here, the map has this gray background color, and we don't want that. So what I'll do is, so in here, I'll just paste this snippet right here. If we go into the file, I'll just paste this one, and it will basically change the styling for the leaflet container to a darker background color, like this one. So now let me also show you how we can add the circles for the seeds. What I'll do is just create a new component called seed.view, and I'll just create the same setup here. And what we'll do is we can add an L marker. So, sorry, not an L marker, but an L circle. We can do it like this, L circle, and we'll add it from Vue leaflet. Then here we can say L circle, and the L circle accepts lat lng. So this would be the center point of our circle. And before we say that, let's say for now it will be 0, 0. We know it also a radius. And I'll set this to something big so that we can see it. And after this, what we can do is go into our cinema map. Let's change some of these properties here so that the center of the map will be starting actually at 0, 0. And let's also import here the seed. Okay. Now if we go back, we can see that we have in fact a small circle. Maybe we can change the zoom a bit so that so that it's better seen. If we go here, so zoom is currently 2, let's set it to 6 maybe, and it's a bit better. But now we have this circle, and if you want, you can check the docs. Basically, you can also have rectangles and polygons, and rectangles accept bounds. So on 2 points that together make up the width and height of the rectangle, and polygon accepts an array of points, which basically draw the path of the polygon. But right now, let's focus on the seed. So in order to create the seed, what we need to do is we can go into our cinema map here, and let's create some variables. So first of all, we need some columns, which will be, we don't need them to be reactive for now, so let's just say 12, and rows can be maybe say 11 so that we can differentiate between them. And let's also create a function. So generate seeds, no arguments. And basically what this will do is, let's say we have these empty seeds. Okay. Then for each of these, we need to have like a double loop. I less than rows, okay. And then for let j, okay. For the columns, I'll leave it as is. And then seed push, so we don't need this for now. What we need is maybe an ID. We need a center, which would be I and then j times 2, and a radius, which I'll set to 4 3000. So it's big and visible. Oh, and then at the end, we need to return seats. Okay. Now before we use this, let's go into source. Let's create a new folder called types. And let's create a type called, say, iSeat.ts. Here we can say const, or rather export. I can just say type iSeat equals id string center should be array of number, radius number, and then we can export this. Back in here we can import iSeat from types, and then we can say here const seats equals ref of, and lastly we can say on mounted, which is a Vue lifecycle hook. You can say that seats will be the value of the generate seats function, and let's also console log them. Okay, so now if we refresh, and here in the browser DevTools we can see we have about 100 and something of the seats, and we have the coordinates, the ID, and the radius. Now going back into our code, we can say that seats v4 seat in seats, and then we can bind the seat be a seat. Now here let's define some props. Okay, and in fact, yeah, so this would be maybe import all of these. And here we can actually destructure it like this. And then what we can do here is just, instead of hard coding this, we can use seat.center and seat.radius. Radius. Cool. And now if we go back, we can see that we actually have a bunch of these. Now, when we reload, actually, we started the 0, 0. So what I'll do is I'll just change it so that we start at the proper center. So for our grid, it should be something like 411. And yes, in fact, we started the center. What we can also do is here in our map, we can specify some options. And these options can be, let's say, you can see GitHub Copilot suggests a lot, but we'll just say min zoom, which would be 5, max zoom, which would be 7, and we'll also disable the double click zoom. So what you can see now is, and also let's, okay, so zoom is 6, okay. So now if we refresh, this is the initial zoom. If we zoom out, we cannot zoom out more than this. Okay. Another thing that I'll change as well is the width. So I think this could be maybe 1020 width, so that it's full screen. and maybe the initial zoom should be a bit lower. So if we go back here and let's just set it to 5 for now. Okay, and this is what we get for now. Now let's also add some markers. So what we can do is if we go into our seed.js, at the top of this file, we can add this snippet here, right here. And let's import here L marker and L icon. So what these two things do is L marker is basically a marker that you put on certain coordinates. And inside of it, it has this L icon, which serves as a label. Now we don't need the icon, so that's why I've given it a class name of hidden. But I've added this thing here to display the seed's ID. For now, we don't want to handle the click, so I'll just delete this. But as you can see here, we basically just position it a bit slightly. And if we zoom in actually, we can see 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, and so on. So let's also change a bit the colors of these seeds. So what we can do actually now is continue a bit with the styling. So what we can do is class name, you can say cursor, pointer, and then some z index. Let's also add a key. So this would be the seed ID. And let's also add these things here. So this is the seed color and to be computed. Or for now, let's hard code it. Yeah, let's hard code it for now. It would be just, let's say, green. Okay, so now they're all filled and they have their respective labels. Cool. And what we can do next is inside of our cinema map, we can do maybe add our screen. So how we can do that is we can basically, let's go into our cinema map. And so this is the seats, and let's also add screen. So we need to import the L rectangle and L marker. And as you can see here, we basically set just some bounds for the rectangle. We give it a color, some fill color, and then we also have this L marker, which will basically just display the screen. We don't need an icon, so again, we use the class name hidden. And as you can see here, we are missing the screen part of it. And that is because I think we're missing something. Yeah, we're missing the L icon. So now if we add that, okay, so this is our screen. And that's like really how easy it is to add some shapes into your map. Maybe now we can also add another thing, which is the movie poster. So for the movie poster, all you have to do is, let's say right below the screen, we can paste this. And another component of Leaflet is the image overlay. And we specify an URL of an image, the bounds, and all we need to do is also add it here. So L image overlay. And now if I refresh, you can see that on the side, we have this image of our poster. And we can zoom in, and on this side are still our seeds. So this all looks very nice, but we're missing still a few things in order to interact with our seeds. So let's implement that now. Back in our cinema map, we need to have a collection of selected seeds. So right here, we have these selected seeds, and this will be iSeed. And after that, let's also just change up the label a bit because I don't like it. So what we'll do is, instead of just displaying the number and the second number, what we can do is use this function here. So we say 65 plus the number of the row, and 65 corresponds to the capital letter A on the ASCII table. So what this essentially will do is make our seeds like A1, B1, and so on. Next up, let's also create this handle select function. So it will be const, so handle select. This will be an iSeed. And basically, if the selected seeds includes it, it will splice it or remove it from that array. Otherwise, it would add it. And this handle select, we can go back into our seeds and we can say at select. We can say handle select. So for now, we don't have this. So now if we go back into our seed, we can basically say, so either at the marker, we can say add click, handle click, or at the circle. And then we need to implement this handle click function. So let's say const handle click. And when we handle a click, we want to basically emit the select method. And how we do that in Vue 3, we say emit equals define emits, and then we specify what kind of emit. Cool. Next up is, instead of this single type, single seed, we also need the selected seeds. So that would be just like this here. It would be an array of seeds. And then instead of hard coding this green color, what we can do is we can make the seed color a computed, and then it cannot find selected seeds. So here we also destructure selected seeds. And now if selected seeds includes the seed, then the seed color will be red. Otherwise it would be green. Now if we go back and if we click, you can see nothing is happening. And that is because we're probably missing an import. Let's see. Cannot read properties of undefined reading includes. Okay, so that means that we're not passing it in our parent component. So if we go back, we can see, here we need next to seeds, we can also pass selected seeds equals select seeds. Now if we go back and if we refresh and click, okay, now you can see that we can actually click them and they become red. Now that's super cool, and we're almost done. The last thing that I want to show you is custom controls. So controls are, for example, this thing here, right? You can see in the top left. This, for example, is a zoom control. You can use it to zoom in and zoom out. But we also want to have one control in which we can keep track of which seeds we have selected. So what we can do is, if we go back into our cinema map and we create a new control. So going back, we can add it under the seeds. And how we create a new control is we use the L control component and then we pass a position. So it can be top right, top left, or down right. So let's also import it from here, L control. And what you can see inside is we just have some basic HTML with selected seeds, and then we loop over the selected seeds and display them with their corresponding seed ID. If we go here, we can see the control at the top. We can move the map and you can see that it remains there. And once we select seeds, you can see that it dynamically updates with the ones that we have selected. Hopefully, maybe you can try some of these use cases at home and build your own map using Leaflet.js and Vue. Thank you and goodbye, and see you soon.
Wow, very interesting talk. Thank you, Alexander. Now it's time for our Q&A session. Well, while listening to your talk, a lot of questions went to my mind because I'm using it. I'm starting using it just with plain JS, but now I definitely need to install Vue Leaflet and use it in Vue.js. So the first question is, which are the events you can listen to in map elements and in the map itself, apart from the click you mentioned?
Yes, thank you, Danny. So there are quite a lot of events that you can listen to. For example, in the map itself, you can, like I can just say some of them. You can listen to when zoom levels change. You can also listen at when the map is resized, when it's loaded and unloaded, and basically all of these events that when the user interacts with the map, you get a cross section where you can add additional logic. And in terms of the elements like the circle, rectangle, and so on, then you can also listen to events such as mainly mouse events like clicking, double clicking, moving, and so on. So that gives you like extra layers which you can attach logic to.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And the other question is, what is the z-index default order when drawing elements? For example, if you want to add seats over an aircraft image, do you need to draw the image first, or is there some kind of setting maybe?
Yeah, so the default order goes basically whatever is first added to the map is at, at the back. So in terms of that, like the latest thing you add to the map will be shown on top. You can manipulate this logic by arranging all of the elements that you want to render in an array and then changing the order so that the most like background elements can be shown first, and then on top of those you can show the actual clickable interactive elements.
Okay, great. So it's like kind of drawing on a HTML page, but on a map. And I think
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
great.
And one thing that I want to mention as well is that the complexity goes even beyond just images and so on, because you can also attach canvas elements on top of a leaflet
Oh,
so that you can use either like WebGL and shaders and combined with leaflet. So that's actually what we do at my company. We use those technologies to actually show different statistics of biological cells using a map and some WebGL shaders. So the
wow.
possibilities are really endless, and that's what I wanted to focus on this talk, to bring awareness that we can use Leaflet not only for maps, like in the Google Maps sense of thinking, but it really has many use cases.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Alexander. I think I was using Leaflet just for maps and for displaying, for example, topographic maps. But wow, this opened my mind.
Yeah, there's
About
definitely nothing wrong with the traditional maps. It's just more of a awareness thing.
Okay, there is another question. We can draw a chessboard also from this then.
Yes, you can draw a chessboard. Again, it's another example of the many things that you can actually use this technology to build cool things. And the best part is that it's open source, and it has this Vue package so that it's easier for us Vue developers to use these elements directly in the HTML template.
Great. And you said is in beta, the version for Vue.js 3, so everyone can contribute to it. Just
Yeah,
to
exactly. As far as I know, it's still in beta, so there's still some things the guys are working on. But yeah, I can post the link on GitHub in the chat so that people can see it and check it out.
okay, and maybe contribute and
Yes, yes.
leave the beta and reach a stable version. Thank you again. No other question, I think, for now. So thank you very much, Alexander,
Thank you
for
for
this
having
talk.
me.
Thank you.